IAS officers and civil servants who are senior people, they also have to be creative at times. The minister was said to be sleeping. We are waiting there with bouquets. And the minister sleeping in about 30 kilometers away. I'm trying to tell you that the civil services requires all-round skills. Handling the media is something which a civil services officer really needs to handle. Hello there. I'm Vivek Atray. I'm a former IAS officer. I'm a motivational speaker and author now. And I've been speaking at various fora. Today I'm going to talk about life in the civil services in the IAS. I was in the civil services for 26 years. In the HCS for 19 and in the IAS for 7 after that. And I resigned last year because I wanted to do more creative things, writing, speaking, inspiring people, whoever would listen to me. But I can tell you about life in the IAS. And if you want to be an IAS officer, what it takes to be there. When I was SDM Kalka years ago, a man walked into my office. This man was poor, tattered clothes. He walked up and he said, "This is my work. This is my application." I read it, I had a look at it. I found that it wasn't a big, difficult job. But he looked at me with some trepidation, some kind of uncertainty in his eyes. So I asked him, "What's the matter?" He says, "I'm giving you this application which I've given to many officers before you and the work has not been done. I don't have much hope, but here I am presenting it to you anyway." So I looked at him. I was confident, I was young, I was dynamic. I thought I'll do it. I said, "Don't worry, come back next week, it should be done." So I marked it to someone, sent it to someone. That person took more than a week, took a month. This guy came a couple of times. He started taunting me a little because he was not getting his work done. So I called the person who had to do it, made him promise that within 2 days he will come back with the work done. Yet it was not done. So this person kept coming to my office and the work was still not done, and he kept taunting me in a way. Even though I was on a powerful seat, he would say, "See, I told you it wouldn't be done." So one day I sat with that junior officer and actually got the thing done myself. Took me a couple of hours out of my time. And when it was done, this gentleman came again to my office. When he came, the look on his eyes, the expression on his face, that is the lesson I've learned in life, that when you do something for someone like that, they pay you so many times gratitude, so many blessings, so many good wishes. And that is what matters in life. Many things happen which require you to be an all-rounder. Those who are unidimensional, they've studied very hard, they've come into the civil services, they don't know how to talk to people, understand life. There are so many things happening in India which are different from your background. You will have people walking in who are from a different background all the time. They have different requirements. So one minute you might have someone like that gentleman I mentioned who has some work related to a road or a nali or a tap or some electricity meter or some property which is really dear to him. The other minute you might have a very fancy posse of 3 or 4 people walking in who say that we want to organize a Greek food festival in your area. So you have to be an all-rounder. If you are an all-rounder, then you can understand and appreciate various kinds of people. Then you can be a successful civil servant. See, once what happened, you have to think on your feet. I was SDM Kalka again, and I was on duty at something called the Pinjore Gardens, very famous gardens near Kalka. In these gardens, we were to have a mango festival. And the administration is always involved in these kinds of things, protocol, events, administration. So the mango festival was a big thing. And we were expecting the agriculture minister of the state to come as the chief guest. And when we were waiting for the chief guest, the DC, my boss, asked me, he says, "Do you think he'll be on time? Why don't you give a call?" These were not the days of mobiles. So I called up on his landline. And the minister was said to be sleeping. We are waiting there with bouquets. And the minister sleeping in about 30 kilometers away. So I told the chap there, I said, "Do you think he'll wake up and come for our event?" He said, "I don't think so." So that was good advice. We went back. And I went and told the DC is not coming. Suddenly, a very important person of the state, the governor, he decided to stop by at Pinjore Garden on his way back from Shimla to Chandigarh. We get a message that the governor is coming. We are standing there with bouquets for the person who didn't come. Suddenly the governor comes with his cavalcade. He happened to know me because he kept passing by off and on. He says, "You're standing with flowers. How did you know I'm coming?" I said, "Sir, I just gave him the flowers." So he looks at me, he says, "Thank you. What is happening here?" I said, "Sir, this is a mango mela." He says, "What is to be done?" Now, the governor is much senior in hierarchy than any minister. But the governor wanted to do something there. So I said, "Sir, the ribbon." So he went and cut the ribbon. And that presence of mind meant we had a chief guest who was much superior to the chief guest who was originally to come, who was actually sleeping. And this governor went and inaugurated the Mango Fest, even though he wasn't scheduled to do so. Now, those were the days when the media wasn't very strong. And they weren't very, very alert. So nothing came in the papers about this, that, protocol breach, this, that. But it could have happened. But it was something that presence of mind helped in getting a chief guest, which we otherwise wouldn't have had. So these things happen. But nowadays, things have changed a little more. What happens to an administrator in the field is, I've been DC of Panchkula before I resigned. What happens is the media is in your face all the time. There are so many politicians in your face. They all have pressing demands. They want things to happen now. And the media is watching you. So if you make any attempt at losing your temper or saying something wrong to someone, or if you slip up anywhere as an administrator, they are going to come and ask you for your reaction, your quote, why did you do this, why did you do that? So I had once a television crew coming to my room, and a young boy about 14 years who said that I want to spend one day with you. Of course, the television channel wanted him to do that. So he said one day with the DC Panchkula so that he could decide, this boy of 14, whether he wanted to be a DC or not, an IAS officer or not. So he spent the whole day, and at the end of the day, this guy and the TV crew was tired. I was not. Because I have to be an all-rounder when I'm an administrator. I cannot be lacking in energy. So being that all-rounder is something that helped me in my service. And even though things were getting frenzied, things were getting very hectic, things were getting very, very pressing at times, you had so much pressure and stress, I was able to handle it only by keeping cool and by being diverse in my interests. So I started writing while being an officer. I started writing creatively, sending some articles to the newspaper. That was an outlet for me. So I used to share with my younger colleagues, I said, if you have an outlet on a Sunday, apart from your work, if you have something creative to do, that will help you in your career. Because when you're working, you don't have time for your family, you don't have time for yourself, your Monday mornings are so bad, and then the chief minister is scolding you, somebody's calling you up all the time, something is going wrong all the time. So IAS officers and civil servants who are senior people, they also have to be creative at times. They have to take out time to go for a walk, maybe sing a few songs, maybe listen to music, maybe watch some sports, indulge in sports themselves. These are the things they need to do. Now, these things, they can happen only if you think a little out of the box. If you are unidimensional, again, it doesn't happen. I'm trying to tell you that the civil services requires all-round skills. It requires a sense of humor. It requires creativity. It requires an ability to think differently, to understand people who are different from you, to have empathy for others, to have cheerfulness whenever you can find it, to have emotional intelligence, not only bookish intelligence. These are the things that really matter when you go on to become a civil servant. These are the things I want to tell my audience today. And these are the things which really help in life. What helps is not what certificate you got, what accolades you got, what prizes you got, what promotion you got, what increment you got, what money you got, but the smile on the face of that person who actually you did some work for and he said, bless you. That's what matters. Thank you very much.